Hi everybody, this is the video you might have all been waiting for. I'm going to be talking about Archer, or we call him Archie, our OTTB just taken from the June auction. Now, he was not at risk of going to slaughter. His price had bid above the weight per pound of slaughter price. However, occasionally either we'll bid against kill buyers who want to pretend like they're going to sell horses to slaughter and post them with a ship date and sell them that way for a higher price so that they can go buy more slaughter horses. Or occasionally we'll take in an extra horse who might be a project or a resale so that we can fund rescuing more horses. So Archer we bought as a project horse. He had come in with some Western riders saying they took him over jumps, and he was very, very skinny. So at least, you could say at least we rescued him for that reason. Just put some weight on him. And we found out that he has a tattoo on his upper lip. So inside the upper lip, you flip it upside down, and then there's a barcode number that you can look at, and I'm going to post it up on the screen right now. And we had a bit of a time trying to figure out what numbers were there. Now, they'll usually put a letter and then 4 or 5 numbers depending on if it's a thoroughbred or a quarter horse, and then those tell you what kind of horse it is. And of course, as any tattoos, even on humans, over time the ink will fade, and that makes it harder to read. So we initially thought it was an asterisk, so one of those little stars, and then hit some numbers, and the asterisk means an imported horse. So we were trying to look for that, and of course we weren't finding what we were looking for. We tried different combinations of the numbers that we thought were there. I couldn't find anything. We know he was estimated to be about 6 years old, but that's just a guess that the vet does when they come into the auction if they get their coggins drawn at the auction itself, which for him was the case. So he didn't come in with an coggins that was already valid. Now, when we go through that, we had a hard time distinguishing a couple of the numbers and whether it was a letter or an asterisk at the front. The online thoroughbred registry has a page that you can look up all the details, and we got to a point where we weren't finding any results that matched. When you go through, and I'm going to post a little bit of a page view right now, when you go through some results, it describes the horse with, you know, the color, any kind of facial markings, feet markings, anything like that. It's anything that's a distinguishing feature. Now, he's a plain bay with no socks, no distinguishing features except for a tiny little star between his eyes. And that makes it even harder because there's nothing distinguishable about him. We got to a point where we couldn't figure out what was going on. So the Thoroughbred Registry has an email that you can contact and send in for pictures. You send in your pictures and pictures of the tattoo, and they will help you try and figure out what horse it is. I sent it in and actually received a reply back the next morning. I sent it in on like an evening, and they got back to me right away, so thank you to them for that. And they came back with what they thought was a match, and I looked at it, and the numbers and the letter that they said, if you enhance the photo, enhance the contrast, and kind of blow it up and squint a little bit, figure out what the numbers and letters say that are inside his lip, I definitely could see what they were saying in the recommended numbers for him. So I'm going to say the number in case anybody is interested in looking this up on their own. It's S. So S is for the year 2016, so he is 6 years old. S 01656, I believe that's it. I'll put it up on the screen if that's not it. And so I was able to take that number then, go into their registry and look up all the details for him. So I found that his registered name is the KW Shuffle, and he was born in Kentucky. I found out who the breeder is, Sciano Racing, and we can have some, I will zoom in on this, but this is his pedigree. It's all free. Looked up his pedigree, I could see, so he sold, this is one of the most interesting things finding out. He sold as a yearling, I believe. A yearling, or he sold as a yearling, and then I believe he sold as a 2-year-old for $30,000, which I'm not familiar with thoroughbred racing, but that's a lot of money for anybody. And I think in the thoroughbred world, you know, it's kind of a numbers game. They buy lots of horses, they spend lots of money, then if the horse is a good racer, they're easily going to make that money back. So he was born February 12th, 2015? Is that right? Oh yeah, 2015. He was born February 12th, 2015. He had 8 starts, so he only raced 8 times, and he placed several of those times. He never won. He didn't end up winning a race. The highest he ever got was 3rd place. And it also has, with his pedigree, there's another website that will tell you all his starts. So it will tell you where he raced, what day the race was, how much money was offered for the purse, and how he placed. And also for newer horses, they have video available. Now that is costing money, so I think it was about $5. So I paid the $5, and you can get access to any of the videos that are available, not just for that specific horse, but you can buy like a day pass. So for 24 hours, you can go look at videos. So I'm gonna include some videos here, but it's so interesting, the track. So his first race was August 19th of 2018. So that was, he would have been a 3-year-old then. He was a 3-year-old. Like the purse was for $16,000. He finished 4th. So he made a teeny bit of money, but not that much. And there's all kinds of stuff, and like I said, I'm gonna include some screenshots here. All the things, they say who trained him, who owned him, and what he sold for, and how much he made. So he made a total of $7,173 across all of his 8 starts, racing on the track, which is, you know, that's not that much for a horse that you paid $30,000 for. So I can see why he was sort of passed on and maybe went through a couple of different owners before he ended up at the auction that I got him from. And his last race was in 2019. Obviously they could tell racing was not in his future, so they retired him and obviously sold him on, and this is where he's ended up. Now the reason he ended up selling for $30,000 is because he has some very, very famous names in his pedigree. This is what I'm thinking. So he's got Seattle Slew, Secretariat, Stormcat, AP Indy. Those are famous names in the thoroughbred industry. Mr. Prospector, Native Dancer, which was a famous horse out of Canada, and Bold Ruler. Also big money earners. You know, you pay sometimes not just for what the horse is, but what they could be. So they're saying, oh, a descendant of Secretariat, you know, or Seattle Slew, whatever. They were big money earners. You know, maybe this horse has the potential to be a money earner as well. Of course, it doesn't always work out that way. And he has been coming along so well. We have actually started using him in lessons. For a 6-year-old that has been on the track, he is remarkably calm. I actually just did a little walk lesson with a 6-year-old the other day, and he did so well. He's very calm, easy to stop, and we're just so happy with him. So he's going to be staying with us for a little bit longer than we might have thought, just because he's such a good fit here. He does not know how to jump. We are working on that, introducing him to some ground poles, getting him a little more confident He was sold as having been a trail horse that they jumped over obstacles, and I think that might have been a little embellished for the auction ring, because he's definitely unsure when it comes to jumping and different obstacles that he can encounter. So we are going to work through that. We've got some more advanced riders that are riding him now in their lessons. And we are just so pleased with how he's doing. So again, that's KW Shuffle is his registered name, but we're calling him Archer here at RH Farm. Now, just for comparison, we also looked up all the details for our horse Harley, who is a rescue. He was sold to one of our Mustang friends as being a 16-year-old and ended up being 28. So she didn't want to have another older horse or have him retired, so we were happy to take him as a retiree. But he is happy to be ridden. We put an extra support pad underneath him because he is sway-backed, and we had the vet come out and check and make sure he was okay to be ridden. He's very lightly ridden. I'm going to say that again, very lightly ridden by lighter people. He's not worked a lot, and he's not ridden by heavy riders given his condition of his back. But Harley's registered name is Strokin, and this is his pedigree. So we looked him up. He doesn't have anybody fancy, like at least as well known as Secretariat or Stormcat, Northern Dancer, all of those. But he does have some good names, and him and Archie actually have a common ancestor, the ancestor of Bold Ruler. So Archie is, let's see, son, grandson, great-grandson, great-great. So Archie is a great-great-great-grandson of Bold Ruler, and Harley is a great-grandson, so two less removed, but they do have an interesting common ancestor. So again, you can look that up. We found that Harley sold for $9,500, and that was the 1994. So as a 2-year-old in 1994, he sold for $9,500, which is a lot lower of a price than $30,000. And he ended up being a little bit more successful on the track than Archie did. He raced 37 times, and he won 5 of those times. So he was born in Florida. April 2nd of 1992, and we've got all of his papers of where he started, his first race. Of course, there's no video because it's from the 90s, and I don't even know if they even videoed things then. But we also found, so he sold for $9,500, and he made about $20,000 on the track. So you can see the difference there. So we have Archie, who sold for $30,000 and only made $7,500. And then we have Harley, who sold for $9,500 but made $20,000. And he raced until he was 6 years old, which is a lot longer too. He had a more successful career. it's just kind of interesting as when I went back through these videos to look at the different histories of racing horses and thoroughbreds and what all goes into how much people pay for and what their histories end up. We're not sure if Archie might have had an injury at the end. His last race, it says DNF, which is did not finish. And that could have been for anything. I did look at the video from the last race. I'm not going to include it because he was not at the front of the pack, so a lot of the footage is not focused on him specifically. You kind of have to look in the back corner to see where he's at. But he definitely dropped back behind the pack, and the jockey kind of slowed him down. So he might have tripped, or maybe the jockey just didn't think something was right, which I appreciate. You know, sometimes the thoroughbred industry can be really brutal to their horses, pushing them on even though they're not comfortable or they're in pain. But it seems like he was retired at a time when it was needed. So that is the details on that.
And now here is the videos that I downloaded of him in his 2 best races. You'll see, and I've got the audio here, and I'll just let this play out so you can watch the whole race.
They're all the gates. They're off and running at Indiana Grand. Moving left to the start there was Yankton. It's Twist Off and the KW Shuffle. The KW Shuffle gets an early lead over Twist Off. Tis a Breeze is in between horses in third. Yankton will be wide around that first turn. And then 4 lengths back to Bandito de Amores, who's at the back of the pack. The pace is controlled, less than 7 furlongs to go. And it's Twist Off and Fernando de la Cruz on top. The KW Shuffle and Alex Conchari outside in second. A length and a half back to Yankton and Ronnie Prescott to the outside of Tis a Breeze and Sonny Leone. They're third and fourth, and then a space of about 6 lengths to Bandito de Amores and Santos Sanger at the back of the pack. The first quarter mile in a casual 25 2/5, 5 furlongs to travel in the opener. It's Twist Off, the huge favorite with the head in front of the KW Shuffle outside in second. Length and a half, 2 to Yankton, who is stalking in third, and then it's Tis a Breeze up the inside 4, 3 lengths off the lead, and a separation of 3 lengths to Bandito de Amores, who starts to draw closer from the back of the pack. The opening half, almost in 50 3/5, on to the far turn. Twist Off, trying to shake clear of the KW Shuffle. It's Yankton on the outside in third. Tis a Breeze towards the inside in fourth, and then Bandito de Amores winding up to the back of the pack is only 3 lengths off the lead as they reach the top of the stretch. Yankton and Twist Off, these two clash for the lead, and then it's Bandito de Amores on the stand side third as they got 1 furlong to go. Twist Off, Resurgent opens up by 3 lengths over Yankton, and then Bandito de Amores, they come down to the finish. It's Twist Off. Twist Off, the huge favorite, wins by about 7. Yankton second, Bandito 5, 4, 6, the 1 Twist Off, your unofficial winner.
And now we've got Archie's best race. It was right near the beginning of his career, actually, and he is running in the mud and the rain. So April 25th, he did the best here. He placed third. That's the best he ever did.
They're off. Good
and
start
the most
for Mark
money he
Forgood,
ever
who jets
won
out for the lead.
on
Trace
the track.
Troubadours on the far outside. The KW Shuffles at the fence, and your Guapo is also towards the inside, as Tis a Breeze is in between horses in about third. In 6th place, that is Windy Cape, who's to the inside of Bandito de Amores, and Awesome Times 2 is 8th and trailing at about 6.5 lengths off the lead. 6 furlongs to go as they turn on to the backstretch. The KW Shuffle with the lead. Mark Forgood applying the heat outside in second. Trace Troubadours 3 wide in the clear in third. Tis a Breeze behind horses in fourth, 2 lengths off the lead. Bandito de Amores tugging at the jockey to go on in fifth. Senor Guapo drops back. Windy Cape goes by that one, and Awesome Times 2 has also passed Senor Guapo, is now at the tail of the field. Less than 3.5 furlongs to go. Mark Forgood gets a contender in Trace Troubadours. Trace Troubadours now threatening on the outside for the lead on the far turn. The KW Shuffle drops back in third. Awesome times 2. And now is launching a big time rally. Awesome times 2, the first time gelding. Now challenging for the top spot as they arrive at the top of the stretch. And it's Awesome times 2 who takes over the lead from Trace Troubadours. Bandito de Amores is on the grandstand side. And then it's the KW Shuffle, followed up by Tidza Breeze on the stand side in 5th, but many lengths behind as they run to the 16th pole. It's Awesome times 2 on top of Bandito de Amores. Awesome times 2 will break the maiden, gives Santos Sanjor his 4th win on the card. Bandito de Amores 2nd, the KW Shuffle 3rd, Trace Troubadours 4th.
If you have any more questions about either Harley or Archie, please put them down in the comments below. I'll try to answer what I can. And again, you can look them up for yourself on the Thoroughbred registry. I'll link that down below. Archie's registered name is the KW Shuffle, and Harley's registered name is Strokin, no G at the end. And you can look them up if you'd like. I want to thank everybody for tuning in for this very special episode, finding the history on some of our auction horses. It can be hard to see where they came from or any kind of details about really how old they are or who might have had them before we got a hold of them. But it was kind of neat to look into a little bit of a past of these guys and even see Archie racing when he was a 2- and 3-year-old, which is really interesting. If you liked the video, do give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. I am going to ask, if you don't mind, do consider subscribing. It's free. It does help us. Once we get to a certain number of subscribers, we can start getting fundraisers to help us go to these auctions and save more horses and keep more horses from ending up in a future that might not be as bright. So thank you everybody for watching. We'll see you in the next one.